Now, I'll be damned. This episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, focuses entirely on Kira. Once again, well done. I love Part 4 JoJo for being so different from the other 3 parts before it. Because normally, you would get a little bit of glimpses of some of the villains of the series, but you would never have a full episode focused on the main villain, especially something like this, getting to see the psyche of the villain, of what they're thinking, how they move around in their environment. That I really appreciate. And the way this episode was focused on Kira and how he lives his life or deals with a situation, it's such a good and fascinating episode. Because let's think about this, okay? The normal episodes, we always see it to where, like, if it's an episodic episode or something, or a little mini arc, like 2 episodes, it's where, like, let's say the main JoJo or one of the characters, Koichi or something, they get in trouble, a stand user pops up, they have to defeat. That's kind of the general layout of a said arc. And if you think about it, this was, in a way, very similar to that, but it was from Kira's perspective, and it's so cool because it's not just the heroes constantly fighting stand users, it's also the villain, Kira, and seeing this episode focused on him having to overcome the stand user that he met, which was a cat, and then turned into like a plant cat, it makes the episode entertaining, because you're like, holy shit, we're actually getting to see the villain do things, getting to see the villain have to deal with a stressful situation and maybe dying or causing problems for himself. It just is so new, so different from what we have seen before from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And so the layout of this episode, for being relatively kind of intriguing and different from the normal episodes, clapping, just clapping for this episode. So, Kira's psyche in this episode. I like how this man is getting developed, and might be slowly growing attached to his supposed wife. Now, we know it's not his real wife, it's the actual man's body he stole, but I mean, his wife, or the person that thinks, you know, that's her husband, he seems to be growing connected with her. Now, as I've already discussed in a couple episodes back, I assume that she is probably going to get killed eventually. She's going to die. I mean, Kira is a person that kills people. He kills women, and then he carries their hand around him, and he deals with their hand eventually and just gets rid of it. He's that type of person. That's the type of character he has. We know he has these urges, and he's been trying to resist these urges because he doesn't want to be caught. He doesn't want to cause any problems, and so we know what type of mindset he has. It's if he was to do this, he would not be able to sleep well at night. He'd be very stressed, so that's kind of why he's holding himself back. But in this episode, though, we see a very rare moment that made it to where it was trying to make Kira feel more human. And I like that, because normally when you see villains in JoJo, now, not all villains, a lot of villains do show human traits to them, like, you know, humanity to them, that just, it's like, holy crap, I can understand them. But this is the first time we actually get to see a villain questioning something about themselves. Like, if, you know, did they really move in that way because they cared for this individual, or were they doing that just to protect their own self, for instance, for they wouldn't be stressed? And the way Kira asked this in general, regardless if he did it to protect himself and not be caught by Josuke and them, the point stands is the man thought of that to begin with. He, at the very least, still mentioned it in his head that he might have jumped in and saved her because he is starting to grow attached to her. And that is awesome. That makes me respect Kira's character way more than I already did. I already like Kira as a villain, but adding this type of trait to him to where he's actually questioning the way he moved and the way he saved this person, it adds this layer to him that I hope gets dived into and developed more. And I really, really hope this isn't just casted aside and thrown off the table. I hope this is dived into more, developed, and we get to see Kira constantly questioning himself of why he does certain things. For instance, why did he save this person? Did he do it because he just wanted to protect himself? Or did he do it because he actually cared for this girl? I hope that gets dived into and it's just not thrown aside and lost throughout the remainder of the episodes. I want to see more of that. That was a really good point of this episode. Probably my favorite moment of this JoJo episode, and most likely one of my favorite moments of Kira in general. Now, Kira has a lot of good moments, but this moment in general, with it about Kira questioning something about himself, That's stuff I like about villains. That's what I like about certain villains. When I see a villain and I can see something where I can understand them and I get to see their mindset and why they do certain things, it makes me appreciate them and respect them more. And Kira doing something like that, it's definitely one of my favorite moments of him. Easily in my top 3 favorite moments for that scene alone. So let's get off of that. Let's talk about the other thing. So the cat plant. So this cat becomes a stand user. Gets shot with an arrow, as we can see a hole in the cat's neck. And apparently this cat dies to a tragic event of being stabbed with glass, and it was thanks to the wife that causes it. She didn't try to, but thanks to certain events, the cat died. Eventually, Kira came downstairs. He didn't know if it was a stand user or not, but what he decided to do was he grabbed the cat's body, he buried it in the yard, and that was pretty much GG to that. But eventually, the cat, for some reason, continued to live on. The cat was still alive, and a plant grew out of the grave, and the actual plant was the cat. The plant changed shape to look like a cat. It had cat ears, had eyes, had a mouth, and the way it looked overall, it was like the cat just turned into a plant form, but it was still retaining its personality as a cat. And so we don't really know necessarily how the cat managed to survive. We don't know why the cat is alive at this time, and it's not really explained in this episode how the cat managed to turn from a cat into a plant. But we do know that one of its abilities, apparently, it can shoot air. It actually shoots air bullets, and it can actually cause a lot of harm. And you can't see these air bullets because it's fucking air. And that's a very powerful stand if you think about it used in the right situation. And I like how Kira, in a way, he realized he was getting too cocky, and he thought, it was just a cat, he wouldn't have to worry, it's just air. But then the cat got the best of him, decided to shoot a little air bubble into his vein, and Kira almost died. Now, as he stated, he may not be someone that's really good in medicine, but if some form of air gets into your veins and starts circulating through you and gets to your heart, that's gonna fucking kill you. It's gonna stop your heart if air gets into your blood vessels. So he realized, like, holy shit, I underestimated this cat. I shouldn't be doing shit like that. He's like, I'm falling back down into what I did before with, Jotaro, Josuke, and all of them. I shouldn't underestimate people and think I'm undefeatable. I'm, someone that can't be defeated. I have no weaknesses. And so once again, Kira getting more development is showcasing that he should never underestimate a stand ability. And this, once again, diving into Kira's character, allowing him to develop as a villain, adds that proper build up to that final fight of him in Part 4 JoJo. So far, out of all the villains of JoJo, Kira's easily my favorite. I mean, I love Dio, I love his charisma, but Kira, this man, the way he just feels so real, he feels like someone you can understand some of his motives and the way he acts like he does, it makes him enjoyable. And so, this development of him realizing how he shouldn't underestimate the cat and all that, I enjoyed that outcome of the episode. So this cat in general, though, will it be an ally to Kira? I don't know. I mean, right now, Kira didn't dispose of the cat plant. He put it in the attic and took it out of light. And apparently, the cat just goes into hibernation, just sleeps and doesn't ever wake up. And apparently, the boy figured it out, something about Kira, and now Kira's probably going to try to kill the kid. I mean, if he finds out, the kid's probably going to get killed. And if I had to place any bets, most likely this kid is going to be the reason how Josuke, Jotaro, and then find out about Kira, because the kid's going to say something, they're going to find out, and then, Kira's probably going to have to do some shit, maybe even kill the wife, and also kill the, the child. Something like that might happen. But at this time, though, the way it's setting up, it's very good, and such a beautiful episode of JoJo Part 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.